Well, let's see. We begin with the Dark Swan Rising. Or, like I said before, maybe we shouldn't call it that because that's a DC thing and Disney owns Marvel. They don't own this, and this show is no way connected with Warner Brothers Television at all. I mean, you could do it, but it's just a crossover, and both sides, don't like it. I mean, they like the rivalry. The rivalry intensifies, them doing work and good work. But anyway, we start in 1989 Minneapolis, and uh, where Emma, and this is confusing because I thought she was living in Massachusetts at this time and didn't get to what do we call Minnesota until 1999. I thought season 4 made that incredibly clear, but no, it did not. We begin in a theater in 1989 Minneapolis with 6-year-old Emma taking some chocolate, stealing chocolate, not from a baby, but from a teenager. And the usher, Merlin, comes in, and we only recognize that he is Merlin because, well, later on, oh wait, that was Merlin. At least I did. Maybe other people knew right away that that was their version of Merlin because even though I saw on once wiki a picture of the actor playing Merlin, I had it had been so long since I saw that I did not know that that was Merlin. Uh, so Merlin says to 6-year-old Emma that one day she will be the one to possibly pull Excalibur out of the sword, and we don't know exactly what he means by that because it was Arthur who pulled him out of the sword, and then in the next few scenes we see what they do with the stories. It's only I mean, Excalibur is in there, but it's not whole. So they say, I pulled it out, but it's not fully in there. So I pulled what was in there out, and it counts. Or at least I think it counts. And I'm taking this kingdom thing. Because, Merlin prophesied that I would. Now, which, now I did read the Once Wiki thing, and it's not sure to me that Arthur is going to be a good guy or a bad guy, a villain or a hero, or just maybe a hero. Maybe he's going to be a hero so much that a dark hero that he's going to look so much to try to help his people that he actually harms them, which is actually what a whole lot of this episode was about because Emma is entrapped in darkness now, and basically we have well, but before we get to Emma in darkness, we see that the completion of Excalibur is the dagger. My God, the dagger is part of Excalibur. That's what the Usher Merlin was talking about. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm doing that thing from Jon Stewart a couple of years ago where he was imitating Glenn Beck. I have no idea why I'm doing that in this uh, review. It just came into my head. Um, but Emma is fighting the darkness, and she has the previous owner of the Dark One title in her head as some type of their version of the Sith training, because there's, as we all know in Star Wars lore, When it comes to the Sith, there is a master and the apprentice. And, well, the Dark One version of Rumpelstiltskin, while Mr. Gold is in a coma, it's now linked to a rose. Yes, the Beauty and the Beast rose, which is fun. The Dark One of Rumpelstiltskin is now getting Emma to try and use her dark magic, tricking her and everything because, he has to train the next one. That's the late thing. Once you die, you get to train the next one in ghost or coma type form. Uh, and they land, well, in the Camelot section of the Enchanted Forest. Wait, what am I saying? The Enchanted Forest? It's not in the Enchanted Forest. It's a boat ride away from the Enchanted Forest, just like Arendelle is. Although I would gather Camelot to be to the east and, Arendelle to be to the north. Then again, I thought that uh, Elsa's father was also going to be uh, Snow White's uncle maternally. And they bring them all into the family that way because they mentioned that her mother, whose name I forget right now, is from the Northern Kingdom, and what possible kingdom could that be besides Arendelle? Uh, but I was wrong on that, and once again, I have to take a sip of water um, in this review. Meanwhile, back in Storybrooke, they're trying to get to Emma, and well, the only way to get to a dying apprentice, and by the way, the apprentice dies Yoda's style, Return of the Jedi. You can just, see that they were ripping, Return of the Jedi off there with Yoda's death scene. And I like that, even though I think that Merlin would possibly be a better analogy to Yoda and the apprentice more to Obi-Wan Kenobi, but that's just me. Um, well, when he dies, he gives them this wand Merlin has. And, um, Hook Killian has to remind Regina that although she would believe me has the temper and the fire to do that she's too good now to cast the spell, and that they need someone who's still in the whole idea of being evil and wicked, and that she's will change for good. Let's get a little more Broadway in there. Then again, this is the show that right after it did The Wicked Witch, did uh, Frozen. It's so the best thing I think they could do right now if they really wanted that to happen was to have Adina Menzel to actually guest star on the show, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Anyhow, we see them go to the hospital, and Nurse Ratchet, who I'm thankfully they named her Nurse Ratchet. They actually gave her the name because she was simply at first just based on Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and we later Henry actually calls her that when. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Uh, um, basically, Zelina says, "Yeah, I'm not helping you, but I am going to get out of here, and when I do, there's going to be hell to pay. And by the way, I'm taking this kid back with me to Oz, and you, Robin, will never see him or her again. And I'm doing all the work here. By the way, the sex wasn't that great, And Zelina is like, I'm going to get out of here, this hand clip thing or not, and she eventually does, with the help of Henry and Hook, who, don't use the Wookiee prisoner gag because you don't use the same trick twice, and especially you don't use the same trick twice in a row. Uh, so they pulled their trick, and I think the Indian from from also One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I think that's who that guy is supposed to represent, has to mop it up. And then again, I've never seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, so I I I, I don't know. Um, it's just not me type of thing. Where was I? Oh yes. Zelina cuts off her hand, and well, after that, she magically moves her hand back on, and when you are willing to do that, just to gain your power back, and you could go through a little pain just to chop off your own hand if you can magically surgically put it back together again without actually the surgery. And she kidnaps Robin. Says she wants to trade him for the wand because she wants to go home to Oz where she can rule and even be feared and loved by this child who, was told was going to be raised by the child's father and her sister. And still, I don't like the fact that yeah, Zelina doesn't get any time with this child, even though it's probably the best thing for the kid, because her mother's a psychopath. But still, there's the whole mother-child bonding thing I can't get over. Then again, she's supposed to be in prison, so how much time could you really actually spend with the kid? Um, and well, I'll get back to that later as I have to almost take another break. But while all of this is happening, um, Emma has tracked down this wisp thing from Brave, and so has uh, Merida from Brave. And I like what they've done with Merida from Brave, even though it is, even though I am not a feminist, and this could arguably be seen as feminist, and I will explain myself in the next thing go round. Bye bye. At least I'm not ultra feminist, I should say. Uh, because let's see, Merida has to track down her three lost brothers because her father's dead. She became queen. Her mother, I presume, became queen mother, and a lot of people in their version of Scotland, which I'm guessing is one of the reasons they put in with Camelot, because Scotland is right next to England, and Camelot is supposed to be in England, kind of thing. In They don't believe that a woman has a right to rule, even though she is the oldest by birth, because apparently they don't go in in the Camelot section of thing, just like they used to with the British Crown, which was like changed in only 2012. That you have to be the firstborn male to get the job, and the only way a woman gets it is if there are no male heirs born. And Meredith is saying even if there were no male heirs born and just females, they'd still want somebody else. Now that is sexism, and that I don't like. But well, she thinks that Emma is talking to herself when it's actually the impaled ghost of Rumpelstiltskin who's tormenting her at night with the voices. So she thinks Emma is a crazy lady, and and she has plenty of good evidence to actually back up this claims of craziness that Emma's doing, and Emma's about to rip out her heart, but it turns out that uh, uh, what's her name? Regina has gotten the tornado that was going to take uh, her sister to Oz to now take everybody, and I mean nearly everybody, because the dwarves are there, Belle is there. I thought I saw Ruby in there because I know she's coming back for at least one episode, but it turned out to be Belle. Come out of there with Granny, and everybody is walking in, and then Arthur and the knights come and they say that, Camelot was expecting you. We were expecting you here in Camelot because this is what Merlin said, and he said once you come, he can return. And the whole once and future king reference, even though the Sword of the Stone is actually, like I said, not my favorite movie. And then it's 6 weeks later. Somehow, um, Sneezy got elected temporary sheriff in this thing. He's wearing Emma's red coat, or I mean red jacket, and Emma, because Emma is now the Dark One because they have failed, and they all return wearing fairy tale garb in Maine now, and Emma is dressed as, the Black Swan from Swan Lake and disappearing as the Dark One with black smoke all around. So let's see. Regina has purple smoke. Well, I think actually Regina and Cora have purple smoke. Selena has green smoke. The Snow Queen had white smoke. Rumpelstiltskin had red smoke, and Emma has black smoke. And I really don't like it that Emma is now full on this, because the only way to bring her back into the light. I mean, the last person. I mean, check that, not person. The last character that had to do this, the last savior turned dark, had to rescue their son from the hands of an even more evil than them, and then die in the process. And I'm still not over Balefire's death, and I still don't like Captain Swan, but I don't want the Swan part of Captain Swan dead. I mean, I'm fully prepared for the Captain part of the Captain Swan to go, but now it's all over, and well, it's not all over. It has just begun, and she's full on, darkness, and there is no savior in town. Which, once again, being Jewish, I really don't care about so much. But that's all. What are your thoughts? And bye bye.